After proving Hewon's innocence, things changed for Jisoo. Students from all species began to nod respectfully when she passed. Even some teachers treated her differently. But Jisoo knew better than to get comfortable. She had not forgotten her real mission. Late one night, Jisoo sat on her bed with a small device she had built. It looked like a simple study tablet, but it was actually scanning the Academy's hidden data networks. "What are you doing?" Jun's quiet voice startled her. Everyone else was asleep. Jisoo considered lying, but something told her Jun might be useful. "I'm looking for missing people, humans who came to the Academy and never left." Jun was silent for so long that Jisoo thought he might not answer. Then he moved to sit beside her. "My sister was a student here," he said softly. "Min. She was brilliant, top of her class in biology. 2 years ago, she stopped sending messages home. The Academy said she had transferred to a special program, but I never believed them." "That's why you're here," Jisoo realized. Jun nodded. "I've been searching too, but the Academy has many secrets. Maybe we can help each other," Jisoo suggested. The next day, Jisoo began checking old Academy records. She told her teachers she was doing a history project. With Jun's help, she made a list of all human students from the past 10 years. 47 humans came to study here, Jisoo told her roommates that night. Only 9 officially graduated. The rest were listed as transfers, dropouts, or returned to Earth for personal reasons. "That's strange," Hewon said, looking up from her engineering project. "Almost all students from other species graduate." "Exactly," Jisoo said. "And I checked with Earth's education database. None of these so-called transfers ever showed up at any other school." Do-Yun frowned. "So where did they go?" Jisoo pulled out a map of the Academy she had drawn. "I think they're still here, somewhere in these lower levels that don't appear on official maps." "How do we find out for sure?" Hewon asked. "We need to get into the restricted archives," Jisoo said. "And I have a plan." The next day, while most students and staff attended a special lecture, Jisoo's small group put their plan into action. Do-Yun created a distraction by accidentally starting a small fire in the science lab. Hewon used her engineering skills to disable the security cameras for exactly 3 minutes. In that time, Jisoo and Jun slipped into the restricted archives. Using the access codes Jisoo had secretly copied from Professor Taz's computer, they downloaded classified files about something called Project Harvest. Back in their room, they studied the files. "This is worse than I thought," Jisoo said grimly. "They're not just making humans disappear. They're using them as research subjects." The files showed images of humans in strange glass tanks, connected to machines. Notes described experiments on human brain patterns and neural networks. "Look at this," Jun pointed to a name on one file. "Min Kim, my sister." The picture showed a young woman floating in a tank, her eyes closed. She looked alive, but not awake. "They're keeping them in some facility called the Vault," Jisoo said. "It's underneath the North Tower." Just then, Jisoo's special communicator hairpin vibrated. She activated it when the others weren't looking. "Little dragon," her father's voice said softly. "We've received your signal. Extraction team is ready. We can have you out in 6 hours." Jisoo thought about the 47 missing humans, about Min Kim, about what the Academy was doing in secret. "No extraction," she whispered into the pin. "I'm staying. There's too much at stake." She looked at her roommates, now her allies. "We need to find the vault. And we need to stop whatever they're doing there. It will be dangerous," Jun warned. Jisoo nodded. "Yes, but we're not leaving without the truth. And we're not leaving anyone behind." 3 months after the revolution at Galactic Academy, Jisoo stood on the steps of the main hall. The building looked the same from the outside, but everything inside had changed. Representatives from 50 worlds had gathered to witness the reopening of the Academy under new leadership. Commander Kim stood proudly in his formal uniform, watching his daughter from the front row. "Today marks a new beginning," Jisoo said to the large crowd. Her voice was clear and strong. "The Academy will now truly be a place of learning for all species, built on respect and freedom, not secrets and suffering." The former Neural Harvest facility had been transformed into a memorial and museum. All 347 humans who had been kept in the tanks were now free. Many had returned to Earth for healing, but some, like Min, had chosen to stay and help rebuild the Academy. June stood beside his sister now. Min was still thin and pale from her years in the tank, but her eyes were bright and alert. She would lead the new medical school, making sure no one could ever again use science to hurt others. Du Yun had taken charge of the Academy's fleet of training ships. Under her leadership, flight students from all species learned not just how to pilot, but how to work together as a team. Hai-Wen had surprised everyone by becoming an excellent teacher. Her engineering classes were the most popular in the Academy. She still built amazing devices, but now she taught others how to create rather than destroy. Dragon Bake had a new role too. No longer bound by ancient spells, he chose to remain as the Academy's guardian. But now he protected all students equally and shared his vast knowledge with any who asked. The Galactic Council had been forced to acknowledge the crimes committed at the Academy. Many officials, including Sang-min's powerful father, had lost their positions when their involvement was exposed. As the first human to serve on the Academy's governing board, Jisoo continued her speech. "I promise that no species will ever again be treated as less than equal. Our differences make us stronger when we work together." The crowd cheered. Among them were students from hundreds of worlds, including more humans than had ever before studied at the Academy. After the ceremony, Jisoo found her father waiting. "I'm proud of you, little dragon," Commander Kim said, hugging her. "You did what no military force could have done. You changed the Academy from within." "I had good training," Jisoo smiled. "And good friends." She looked over at her roommates, now her closest allies. "Will you come home now?" her father asked. "Earth's defense forces could use a mind like yours." Jisoo shook her head. "My work here isn't finished. There are still parts of the galaxy where humans are seen as less than equal. The Academy is just the beginning." Commander Kim nodded. He had expected this answer. "Then I'll make sure you have whatever support you need." As the sun set over the Academy, Jisoo walked with Dragon Bake in the new gardens that had been planted where battle damage had once scared the grounds. "You could have destroyed this place," Bak said thoughtfully. "Many would have." "Destruction is easy," Jisoo replied. "Building something better is harder, but it lasts longer." Bake made a sound like distant thunder, his dragon laugh. "You humans are surprising. So small, yet so determined." "That's our strength," Jisoo said. "We know we're not the biggest or strongest species, so we learn to be clever. We adapt. We work together." She looked up at the stars appearing in the evening sky. Somewhere out there were other schools, other institutions where injustice might be hiding. Her mission wasn't over. But tonight, she would celebrate with her friends. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new puzzles to solve. And Jisoo Kim, the girl who had outsmarted an entire academy, freed hundreds of captives, and changed the future of galactic education, was ready for whatever came next. Her mind had been unleashed, and she was just getting started. Silence filled the great hall. The Academy officials stared with open mouths. No human had ever spoken Draconic before. The ancient language was forbidden to all but the highest Academy leaders. Dean Mok pushed forward. "How dare you speak the sacred tongue?" he hissed at Jisoo. "Dragon Bake, please forgive this insult. We will bring another offering." The massive dragon's tail swept across the platform, blocking Dean Mok's path. The floor shook with each movement of the giant creature. "I will speak with this human," Bake grumbled. His voice made the walls shake. "Alone." Before anyone could object, The dragon's giant claw gently wrapped around Jisoo. With surprising care, Bake lifted her and carried her through a massive doorway behind the platform. The door slid shut with a heavy boom. Jisoo now stood in the dragon's private lair. The room was huge, with a domed ceiling that showed the stars and planets beyond the academy. Strange objects filled the space, artifacts from 1,000 worlds, books in languages long dead, and machines whose purpose she could not guess. "You are not what you seem, little human," Bak said, settling his enormous body on a bed of shining metals. "How does the daughter of Commander Kim come to be an offering? How do you speak my language?" Jisoo stood tall despite being smaller than even one of the dragon's claws. "My father collected knowledge from across the galaxy. I studied in secret." "And why are you here?" Bak's eyes narrowed. "The Academy believes I eat humans. I do not." "I know," Jisoo said. "You are a guardian, not a monster. These offerings are a lie. I came to learn the truth." The dragon made a sound like distant thunder. Jisoo realized it was laughter. "Clever human," Bak said. "For 3,000 years, I have been bound to this academy by ancient magic. Once, I protected all species equally. Now, I am little more than a pet and a weapon." Jisoo walked closer to the dragon. "The academy has been taking more humans than just the official offerings. They're disappearing. My father sent me to find out why." Bak's eyes glowed brighter. "Yes, the humans do not return to Earth as the academy claims. They go elsewhere." The dragon moved to a wall covered in strange symbols. With one claw, he traced a pattern. The wall became clear, revealing a map of the academy. "There," Bak pointed to a section deep below the main buildings. "That is where you will find answers. But you cannot simply walk in." "I need to become a student," Jisoo said. "Yes," the dragon agreed, "but they will not allow an offering to live. Unless." Bake lowered his massive head until one giant eye was level with Jisoo's face. "There is an ancient tradition. If an offering can solve the riddles of the void, they earn the right to live and study here. No one has solved them in 800 years. Jisoo smiled. "I like riddles. 3 riddles," Bak said. "Solve them, and I will demand you be admitted as a student. Fail, and I cannot protect you." "I'm ready," Jisoo said confidently. For the next hour, Bake presented Jisoo with the most difficult puzzles in the galaxy. The first involved star patterns and quantum physics. The second required her to decode an ancient language. The third was a moral problem with no clear answer. Jisoo worked through each one carefully, speaking her thoughts aloud. When she finished the final riddle, Bake was silent for a long moment. "In 8 centuries, the dragon finally said, no one has answered the third riddle as you did. You found a path I had not considered." Jisoo bowed her head respectfully. "Does that mean I pass?" "It means," Bak said, his voice both soft and powerful, "that you have earned not just a place in the academy, but my personal protection." The great dragon rose to his full height, towering above her. "Come, Jisoo Kim, let us surprise the academy officials. Your journey is just beginning." Together, they moved toward the door, the smallest human and the largest dragon, now unlikely allies against whatever secrets lay hidden in the academy's depths. The lights in the vault flickered and turned red. Alarms began to sound throughout the facility. "What have you done?" Professor Ta demanded, his silver face now twisted with anger. "I released a virus into the academy systems," Jisoo said calmly. "I've been planting it piece by piece since my first day here. It just needed the final activation code." On screens around the room, security systems began to shut down. Door locks clicked open. And most importantly, the neural tanks began a slow, safe shutdown sequence. "Stop this immediately," Professor Ta shouted. "I can't," Jisoo said. "And neither can you." The virus was designed to be unstoppable. It would release evidence of the vault to every screen in the academy. It would broadcast distress signals to Earth, and it would slowly, safely disconnect the humans from the neural network. Professor Ta lunged for Jisoo, but Jum tackled him to the ground. "This is for my sister," he said, his quiet voice now hard with fury. The guards moved to help Professor Ta, but the room suddenly shook with a massive impact. The ceiling cracked, and chunks of metal fell around them. A deafening roar filled the air as the wall of the vault tore open. Dragonback's enormous head pushed through the hole, his pearl-white scales gleaming under the red emergency lights. "I have honored our agreement, little human," Beck grumbled. "I have found you, as promised." Jisoo smiled. Her message to Beck had worked. While the Academy had been focused on her, they had forgotten about the dragon's ancient abilities to sense those under his protection, even deep underground. Beck's massive claws reached into the room, sweeping guards aside. "Free the captives," he commanded. Across the Academy, chaos erupted as students and teachers saw the truth on their screens. Images of the vault and its hundreds of human captives played on every display. Messages explaining the Neural Harvest program appeared in every language. In the vault, Jisoo ran to Ha-won and freed her from the table. Jum began disconnecting his sister from the tank, tears streaming down his face. Professor Ta had escaped in the confusion. Jisoo knew he would be heading for the emergency shuttles. "We need to stop him," she told Beck. "He knows how to restart the neural network from another location." Just then, her communicator beeped. "Little dragon," her father's voice said. "Our forces have entered the Academy. Where are you?" "In the vault. North Tower Sub-Level 6, Jisoo replied. "We have hundreds of humans in stasis who need medical help." "We're on our way," Commander Kim responded, "and we've locked down all escape routes." Outside the vault, fighting had broken out. Some Academy staff tried to hide evidence of their crimes. Others, who had known nothing about the vault, joined the rescued humans in rebellion. Many students, shocked by the truth, turned against their teachers. Species that had looked down on humans now fought alongside them, united against the horror they had discovered. Jisoo led a group to the main control center. They found Professor Ta there, desperately trying to delete files. "It's over," Jisoo told him. "Everything has been copied and sent to Earth, to the Galactic Council, and to every major world in the galaxy. You've destroyed centuries of progress," Professor Ta hissed. "The neural network gave us advances no single mind could create." "Then we'll find another way," Jisoo said, "one that doesn't enslave people." As human troops secured the room, Jisoo looked at the main screen. It showed images from across the Academy. Dragon Bake had freed himself from ancient bonds that had kept him under Academy control. Students of all species were helping to free the humans from tanks, and in the sky above, ships from Earth and other sympathetic worlds were arriving. Jisoo turned to Professor Ta one last time. "You thought humans were only good for their brains. You forgot about our hearts, our courage, and our strength together. That was your biggest mistake." The giant metal doors of Galactic Academy closed behind Jisoo with a heavy thud. She stood alone in the grand entrance hall, her small travel bag clutched in her hands. The hall rose so high she could barely see the ceiling. Strange symbols carved into stone walls glowed with a soft blue light. Jisoo did not look afraid, though any normal 19-year-old human would be. She simply looked around with calm, dark eyes that missed nothing. "Welcome, human applicant 7294, said a tall, thin alien with pale green skin. "I am Dean Mock. Follow me to processing." Jisoo nodded and followed the dean through winding halls. Other students, some with scales, some with too many limbs, some made of living crystal, moved aside and stared as she passed. "Not many humans at the Academy?" Jisoo asked in a soft voice. Dean Mock's mouth twisted into what might have been a smile. "Fewer each year," he said. "Your kind lacks staying power." Jisoo said nothing, but her eyes narrowed slightly. The processing room was cold and sterile. Machines scanned her body while other aliens in white coats studied the results on floating screens. Unremarkable physical form, one muttered. Typical human limitations. Test scores below standard admission requirements, noted another, scrolling through her file. Accepted on special consideration only. Jisoo kept her face blank. These fools had no idea who stood before them. They saw only what she wanted them to see, a weak, unimpressive human girl. None of them knew that her father was Commander Kim, the hero of the Battle of Orion's Belt, the man who had forced 3 alien empires to sign peace treaties after they had tasted his tactical genius. None of them knew she had grown up studying his battle plans, or that her below-standard test scores were deliberately engineered. Dean Mock guided her to a small, private room after processing. "The welcoming ceremony is tomorrow," he said. "Rest well. You have been chosen for a special honor." When the door closed, Jisoo quickly but methodically examined every inch of her temporary quarters. She found 3 hidden cameras and 2 listening devices. Primitive technology. She left them in place but noted their locations. From her bag, she pulled out what looked like a simple metal hairpin. It was actually a quantum communicator disguised as a harmless ornament. Phase 1 complete, she whispered into it after activating its signal scrambler. "I'm inside." A voice crackled back, so quietly only she could hear it. Confirmed. "Be careful, little dragon. We have intel that this year's offering will occur at tomorrow's ceremony." Jisoo smiled. "Then I'm right on time." She slept soundly that night, while across the academy, the staff prepared for the ancient ritual. Every 10 years, the albino dragon bake required tribute, 1 human sacrifice to ensure the academy's prosperity. This tradition had been kept secret from Earth's governments for centuries. In the morning, Jisoo was given special white robes to wear. The same pale green alien, Dean Mock, came to escort her. "You look confused, human," he said, seeing her calm expression. "Most are crying by now." "I'm just honored to be here," Jisoo replied. The Great Hall was filled with thousands of students from across the galaxy. At the far end, on a massive stone platform, waited something huge and white. The albino dragon bake was larger than Jisoo had expected, the size of a small starship, with scales like polished pearl and eyes like frozen moons. "Behold our guardian," Dean Mock announced to the silent crowd. "And behold this cycle's offering." Hands pushed Jisoo forward. The crowd parted. She walked steadily toward the dragon, her steps even and unhurried. Bake lowered his massive head, cold eyes studying her. His breath smelled of ice and stars. "What is your name, small one?" The dragon rumbled in a voice that shook the floor. The academy officials looked shocked. Bak had never spoken to an offering before. Jisoo smiled and answered in perfect Draconic, an ancient language no human was supposed to know. "I am Jisoo, daughter of Commander Kim. And you, Great Bake, are not what they think you are you?" The dragon's eyes widened. For the first time in 3,000 years, Bake looked surprised. "Attention all students," the Academy announcement system boomed one morning. "The annual Tournament of Minds will begin in 3 days. Top students from each discipline may enter. The winner will gain access to restricted research areas and a position on the student council." Jisoo looked up from her breakfast. This could be her chance to access the vault without breaking any more rules. "You should enter," Ha-Won said excitedly. "You're smart enough. The tournament is for top students only," Du-Yun reminded them. Jisoo has been careful to seem average in class. Jisoo nodded. "I'll need to suddenly improve without making anyone too suspicious." That day, Jisoo began to show more of her true abilities in class. She answered difficult questions and solved complex problems, but always made small mistakes to seem like she was just working harder, not secretly brilliant. Professor Ta watched her closely. After class, he stopped her. "Your recent improvement is interesting," he said, his silver skin reflecting the light. "Perhaps you should join the tournament." Jisoo pretended to be surprised. Me? I'm not sure I'm good enough. I insist, Professor Ta said with a cold smile. In fact, I will personally sponsor you. Jisoo did not trust his sudden interest, but this was exactly what she wanted. Thank you, Professor. I'll do my best. Back in their room, June looked worried. Be careful. No human has ever been allowed in the tournament before. Which means they'll make it extra hard for me, Jisoo said. Good. I like a challenge. The day of the tournament arrived. The Academy's Great Hall had been transformed into a competition arena. 500 students would compete in 3 rounds. Only the top 5 would advance to the final challenge. The first round was a test of scientific knowledge. Jisoo answered each question confidently, finishing 3rd in her group. The second round involved tactical simulations, planning battle strategies, and solving defense problems. This was where Jisoo truly excelled, thanks to her father's training. She finished first, surprising everyone. A human is advancing to the 3rd round, whispered the crowd. Some seemed angry, others curious. The 3rd round was the hardest, a series of philosophical and moral puzzles with no clear answers. One by one, students were eliminated. Jisoo solved each puzzle in unique ways that impressed even the strictest judges. When the final scores were tallied, Jisoo had made it to the top 5. She would compete in the final challenge against 4 others, including Sangmin. This is impossible, Sangmin hissed when he saw her. You cheated somehow. I just used my brain, Jisoo replied calmly. You should try it sometime. The final challenge was announced. Each finalist would enter a simulation chamber. Inside, they would face a virtual reality problem that adapted to their choices. The student who found the best solution would win. As Jisoo prepared to enter her chamber, she noticed Professor Tai adjusting the settings on her pod. Just making sure everything is fair, he said with that same cold smile. Jisoo knew he was doing the opposite, but she said nothing. She had expected this. The simulation began. Jisoo found herself on a virtual spaceship that was failing. Systems were crashing, oxygen was leaking, and the navigation was offline. The ship held 500 virtual passengers who would die if she failed. Jisoo quickly realized this simulation was far more difficult than what the others were facing. The systems were more damaged, the time shorter, the problems more complex. She smiled. They still underestimated her. For the next hour, Jisoo worked with absolute focus. Her fingers flew across virtual controls. She solved problems in seconds that should have taken minutes. When one solution failed, she immediately tried another approach. Outside, the judges watched in amazement as her simulation's difficulty automatically increased to match her skills. Yet she kept succeeding. When the final scores appeared, everyone gasped. Jisoo had not only won, she had achieved a perfect score. No student in Academy history had ever done that. Dean Mok reluctantly announced, the winner of this year's Tournament of Minds is Jisoo Kim of Earth. As the crowd murmured in shock, Jisoo caught Professor Tae's eye. His silver face showed no emotion, but she could feel his anger. She had just earned her way into the restricted areas of the Academy. One step closer to the vault. Jisoo's victory in the Tournament of Minds changed everything. Students from all species now looked at her with respect. Teachers invited her to special lectures. Even Dean Mok treated her with careful politeness. But Jisoo knew better than to trust any of it. She focused on using her new access to search for the vault. One evening, as Jisoo studied maps of the Academy's lower levels, Ha-won burst into their room. Her face was pale. Do-yun is gone, Ha-won said, her voice shaking. She went to flight practice this morning and never came back. Jisoo looked at June, who nodded slightly. They were both thinking the same thing. The vault. We need to move faster, Jisoo said. Tonight, I'll use my winner's access to check the North Tower basement. But when Jisoo returned to their room after dinner, Ha-won was gone too. Someone took her, Jun said. his voice tight with anger. I tried to stop them, but there were too many guards. Jisoo pulled out her secret communicator. I need to call for backup. That won't be necessary, said a smooth voice from the doorway. Professor Ta stood there, his silver skin gleaming in the dim light. Behind him were 4 security guards. Jisoo Kim, you've become quite popular, Professor Ta said, walking into the room. Too popular, perhaps. It's time we had a private talk. Jisoo's mind raced, calculating options. What have you done with my friends? They're quite safe, Professor Ta smiled. For now. They're waiting for you, in fact. Come with me, and you'll see them soon. Jisoo looked at June. His eyes told her to be careful. You too, June, Professor Ta added. Your sister has waited long enough for a family reunion, don't you think? June's face showed a mix of hope and fear. Jisoo knew they had no choice but to follow. Professor Ta led them through hidden corridors and down service elevators that Jisoo had never seen on any map. They descended deeper than she thought possible. Finally, they reached a massive metal door marked with strange symbols. Professor Ta placed his hand on a scanner, and the door slid open. Inside was a vast room filled with rows of glass tanks. Each tank held a floating human, connected to machines by thin tubes. The humans' eyes were closed, but their chests moved slowly with breath. Welcome to the vault, Professor Ta said proudly, or as we officially call it, the Neural Harvest Facility. Jisoo stared at the tanks. There were hundreds of them, far more than the missing students she had counted. What are you doing to them? She demanded. Using them, Professor Ta said simply. Human brains have a unique neural pattern that, when properly connected, create the most powerful computing system in the galaxy. Every major breakthrough at this academy in the past century has come from the neural network. He walked to a specific tank where Du Yun floated unconsciously. Your friend will serve a greater purpose now. And how one? Jisoo asked, fighting to keep her voice steady. Already being prepared, Professor Ta said, pointing to a side room where Ha-Won lay strapped to a table. Jun had moved to another tank, his hand pressed against the glass. Min, he whispered. His sister floated inside, looking just as she had in the files. Yes, your sister has been very useful, Professor Ta said. And now, Jisoo Kim, it's your turn. Your exceptional mind will be the crown jewel of our collection. Guards moved toward Jisoo. She backed away, looking for any escape. You won't get away with this, she said. My father. Commander Kim. Professor Ta laughed. By the time he learns what happened, you'll be just another tank in our collection. The dragon can't help you down here. No one can. As the guards surrounded her, Jisoo pressed a hidden button on her wrist device. It wasn't a call for help. It was something far more dangerous. You're wrong about one thing, Jisoo said calmly. I've been preparing for this moment since I arrived. A soft beep echoed through the facility. Professor Ta's smile vanished. This is impossible. Dean Mock's face had turned from pale green to a sickly yellow. No offering has ever survived the riddles of the void. Vak's massive tail thumped against the floor. Yet she has solved them all. By the ancient laws of this academy, Jisoo Kim will now be a student here. The officials whispered among themselves. They could not argue with the dragon. But they were not happy. An older alien with silver skin stepped forward. I am Professor Ta. I will take responsibility for the human. His voice was smooth, but his eyes were cold when they looked at Jisoo. Very well, Vak said. But remember, she is under my protection now. Professor Ta bowed to the dragon, then turned to Jisoo. Come, I will show you to your quarters. As they walked through the academy halls, other students stared and whispered. News had already spread about the human who had survived the dragon. You will be in East Tower, lowest level, Professor Ta said. It is where we place special cases. Jisoo knew what he meant. It was where they put students they didn't like or respect. Perfect for her plans. The room was small and dark. 3 other beds were already there, with 3 very different students. "These are your roommates," Professor Ta said flatly. "Classes begin tomorrow. Do not be late." He left without another word. A small female with bright blue hair jumped up first. "I'm Ha1," she said quickly, then looked down. "Engineering student. 3rd year." She seemed nervous, her fingers constantly moving, building something small and complex. A taller student with dark hair and a scar across one cheek looked Ji-Soo up and down. "Do-Yun," she said. "Pilot program. This is my 4th academy. Got kicked out of the first 3. She smiled proudly at this fact. The 3rd student sat in the corner, reading. He didn't look up. He had pale skin and dark eyes. "That's June," Ha1 whispered. "He doesn't talk much, but he knows everything that happens at the academy." Ji-Soo nodded to each of them. "I'm Ji-Soo. 1st year." She put her bag on the empty bed. She didn't mention the dragon or the riddles. "You're the offering who didn't get eaten," Do-Yun said bluntly. "Everyone's talking about it." Ji-Soo shrugged. "I'm good at puzzles." June finally looked up from his book. "You're also good at lying," he said quietly. "Your entrance test scores were perfect. You made mistakes on purpose." The room went silent. Ji-Soo stared at him. "How do you know that?" June went back to his book. "I know things." Ha1 looked nervous. "We should get food before the dining hall closes." She stood up quickly, knocking over a small device she'd been building. It broke into pieces on the floor. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice shaking. "I always mess things up." Ji-Soo bent down and picked up the pieces. With quick, careful movements, she put the device back together. She even fixed a design flaw she noticed. Ha1's eyes went wide. "How did you do that?" "It took me 3 weeks to build." "I'm good with puzzles," Ji-Soo repeated, handing the fixed device back. "And machines." Do-Yun laughed. "East Tower might be more interesting this year." As they walked to the dining hall, Ji-Soo watched and remembered everything. She noted the security cameras, the guard patterns, the restricted areas. She listened to conversations and studied faces. In the dining hall, a tall student with golden skin pointed at her. "That's the human who should be dead," he said loudly. "I am Sang-min, top student of the academy. You do not belong here." "Nice to meet you too," Ji-Soo said calmly. Do-Yun stepped forward. "Back off, Sang-min. You're defending it." Sang-min laughed. "How cute. The failures stick together." Ji-Soo put a hand on Do-Yun's arm. "It's okay. I don't need to be liked. I just need to learn." But inside, Ji-Soo was already mapping out the academy's power structure, its weaknesses, and its secrets. Day 1 of her mission was going exactly as planned. 3 weeks passed at the academy. Ji-Soo attended classes and kept her head down. She watched and learned. In public, she was careful to seem average, not too smart, not too dumb. Just another student. But her roommates were starting to see more. Ha1 noticed how Ji-Soo could solve complex engineering problems in seconds. Do-Yun caught her reading advanced flight manuals meant for final year students. Even quiet June seemed to watch her more closely. One morning, Ji-Soo woke to find Ha1's bed empty. Strange. Her roommate was always the last to wake up. "Security took her last night," Do-Yun said, lacing up her boots. "They say she stole research data from Professor Ta's private lab." Ji-Soo sat up straight. "That's not possible. Ha1 would never steal anything." "Tell that to the academy board," Do-Yun said. "Her hearing is today. They'll probably kick her out, or worse." Ji-Soo's mind raced. Something wasn't right. "Where's this hearing?" "Main hall." 1 hour, Jum said from his corner. It was the first time he had spoken in days. "But no students allowed." Ji-Soo smiled slightly. "We'll see about that." Using a device she had built from spare parts, Ji-Soo hacked into the academy's security system. She found the files on Ha1's case, The evidence looked real. Security footage showed someone entering the lab using Ha-1's ID card. But Jisoo noticed something odd about the way the person moved. "That's not Ha-1," she said. "The height is wrong." Jisoo dug deeper. She traced the security logs back 3 days and found something interesting. Someone had accessed the system at exactly 2:14 a.m. for just 3 minutes, just enough time to plant fake evidence. Jisoo checked other cameras from that time. Most showed nothing, but one in the East Tower hallway caught a tall figure with golden skin entering the security office. Sangmin. The hearing had already started when Jisoo slipped into the main hall through a service door. Ha-1 stood alone in the center, surrounded by stern-faced academy officials. "The evidence is clear," Professor Ta was saying. "Your ID card was used to enter my lab. The stolen research was found on your datapad. But I didn't do it." Ha-1's voice shook. "Someone must have taken my card." "A convenient excuse," said Sangmin, who sat with the student representatives. "Humans have always defended this criminal." Jisoo stepped forward. "I have evidence that proves Ha-1 is innocent." The room went silent. Dean Mok stood up. "Students are not permitted at this hearing." "Dragonback's protection extends to my right to speak," Jisoo said firmly. The name of the dragon made everyone pause. "Very well," Dean Mok said reluctantly. "Present your evidence." Jisoo connected her device to the room's main screen. First, the person in the security footage is 3 centimeters taller than Ha-1. She showed side-by-side images that clearly proved her point. Second, Ha-1 was in our room at the time of the theft. Our door sensor logs show no exits. Another image appeared on screen. Finally, I found this footage from the security office. The screen showed Sangmin entering the restricted area. Someone altered the evidence. Someone who had access to security. Someone like the son of a security council member. Gasps filled the room. Sangmin jumped to his feet. "This is a lie. She has no right." "Actually," said a new voice, "she does." Dragonback's massive head appeared at the giant window overlooking the hall. "I have been watching this human. She speaks truth." The room erupted in chaos. Professor Ta looked furious. Sangmin's golden skin had turned pale. Dean Mok raised his hands for silence. In light of this new evidence, Ha-1 is cleared of all charges. As for Sangmin, a full investigation will be conducted. As they left the hall, Ha-1 grabbed Jisoo's hand. "You saved me." "Why?" Jisoo smiled. "Because it was the right thing to do." But in truth, Jisoo had just won her first battle in the war to come. She had exposed corruption, gained a loyal ally in Ha-1, and put her enemies on notice. This human was not to be underestimated.